Good afternoon, buenas tardes, and welcome to Western Mass United for Puerto Rico press conference. In the wake of Hurricane Maria, a powerful Category 4 hurricane that impacted the island of Puerto Rico, local community leaders have come together to form the Western Mass United for Puerto Rico, a coalition of political leaders, nonprofit organizations, business owners, religious leaders, and community activists who've been organizing donation drives, fundraiser events, and working with government of Puerto Rico to get aid to where it is most needed. Today you're going to hear from Holyoke Mayor Alex Morse, State Representative Aaron Vega, Holyoke City Councilman Nelson Roman, Springfield City Council Adam Gomez, and Restoration Worship Center Pastor Eli Serrano, Ed Nuñez from Freedom Credit Union, Jossie Valentin, City Councilman from Holyoke. We're hoping that today we can share about our cause, have a unified message, and help provide relief to the island of Puerto Rico. Nelson Roman.
Thank you so much, Waleska. I first want to recognize and acknowledge Victor Perez, who's a survivor of Hurricane Maria. He just came yesterday at about 2:30 in the morning. And so I just want to thank Victor for being here. And he's updated both the mayor of the city and myself around the on-the-ground experiences of what's going on, including looting, escorted lines through stores like Walmart, and just really experiencing on-the-ground level what the need is in the island of Puerto Rico. I just want to begin by saying and thanking this whole coalition of different individuals and members, and acknowledge my Holyoke City delegation and Adam Gomez, my friend, for starting since September 6th with Hurricane Irma. Due to the fact that Nueva Esperanza began its relief efforts on September 6th in preparation for that hurricane, there has been specific communications directly taking place with different levels of government, as well as relief providing organizations both on the island and here in the U.S. Nueva is a designated PRAFA organization, the Puerto Rican Federal Affairs Administration. I have daily and nightly calls with them. Because of that, Nueva unexpectedly became a bigger clearinghouse for information, logistics, and additional reports and responsibilities. So on the 20th, I'm thankful to this coalition and Rep. Carlos Gonzalez, who's not here today, for bringing us all together to then form a more regional effort. We want to specifically know that we have been working united as a team, and we are grateful that the fact that our state delegation here has lobbied and pushed for a temporary uplifting of the Jones Act for 10 days, but we want to encourage this to be more of a long-term effect. We want to make sure that individuals who are collecting in cities and towns and people understand that we are having a logistical bit of a setback with regards to getting the products as immediately as we want and really having FEMA distribute those products effectively. So based off of that, we're going to go, and my colleague Adam Gomez is going to go into specific sites, but I think from all the speakers you're going to hear today is we really want to focus on financial donations and encouraging folks to please switch your gears. We're still open, Nueva's still open, but now we need your volunteer support. We need your manpower to help us sort and pack. And I'm going to give it back to Waleska, who will introduce our next speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you, City Councilman. Before I introduce our next City Councilman from Springfield, Adam Gomez, I also want to acknowledge the support and the work with the Office of Dominic Sarno in the City of Springfield. Adam Gomez and I, City Councilman Adam Gomez and I have been working with Denise Jordan, Minnie Marrero, and Pat Sullivan as the liaisons with the coalition. City Councilman Adam Gomez.
Thank you, Waleska. Thank you to the media. Thank you to the community of Western Massachusetts for being here. It gives me great pride to be able to be part of something that means something to all of us and dear to our hearts. I think we, how our colleague Nelson has stated, that it's very important that we stay united on these efforts to make sure that that we're all on the same page. I think it's important that all of us understand that majority of these sites were opened. The first ones were community-based, municipally. I'm thankful for Mayor Serrano for opening 6 locations that are around the city. But on October 6th, we are going to be collecting donations at these specific 6 locations. And then, after October 6th, there's going to be a community location that would stay open until we understand and know what's going on when it comes to the shipping I guess, propaganda, what's happening with everywhere in the United States. The community has stepped up. The community is doing their fair share. I commend Senator Warren and Senator Markey and Congressman Neal and their efforts to make sure that we are collectively come together. I also want to send a very special thank you to our faith-based community that's keeping our spirits and is the glue of our Latino community, keeping us together and keeping the conversation and the lines open to our island. Moreover, I just want to also tell everyone that it is very important that I understand that we are trying to do the best thing and put our heart forward. But we need to understand that we need to listen to some of our elected officials and organizations that are on the front line and are in communications with our federal and state government, because that information is the information that is coming through from Puerto Rico. And if you have any questions, please, any person that's part of this coalition is privy to the information and can get the right information out there. So thank you. Please, let's continue on these efforts. We strongly suggest that after these sites close, that we are still on our financial piece of the Puerto Rico relief. So we might not be taking some donations, physical donations now, but we are still going to be taking financial donations at Freedom Credit Union. All right. Thank you, everybody, and back to Waleska.
Thank you, City Councilman Gomez. I'd like to share a little bit of the history of how this coalition also started. I volunteered at Nueva Esperanza with City Councilman Nelson Roman because the drive started with Hurricane Irma. The island of Puerto Rico was blessed that the hurricane was not as bad as they expected. And then came Hurricane Maria. So this is really the birth of this coalition, and I want to acknowledge that before I introduce Holyoke Mayor Alex Morse. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Waleska, and good afternoon, everyone. I want to echo what other speakers have said thus far, and I think this is a wonderful demonstration of the commitment of the people here in the city of Holyoke, but also regional collaboration between Holyoke and Springfield and Westfield, Chicopee, and other organizations. I want to thank my colleagues in government on the City Council, of course Gladys in Ward 1, Jossie in Ward 4, and Nelson, our Ward 2 Councilor, three very strong Puerto Rican leaders we have here in the city. And thank Nelson as well for opening up the doors of Nueva Esperanza to the community, but particularly for these relief efforts. It's been nothing short of just amazing seeing the community come together to support Puerto Rico. And as mayor, it's so important that Holyoke stands with Puerto Rico, given our population is upwards of 50% Latino, mostly of Puerto Rican descent. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but the number of families in our community that have been in angst and fear over the last week and a half, many of our own family members and community members still waiting to hear from their closest loved ones. Just a couple of hours ago at 2 o'clock at Enlace de Familias, we convened a meeting of our government agencies, but also our partners in the community to not just plan for disaster recovery, but also the long term. We expect there to be some sort of Puerto Rican migration into Holyoke specifically, but also surrounding communities here in Western Massachusetts. And if we expect more folks to come to Holyoke, we have to make sure that our public schools, our housing authority, other agencies, the Holyoke Medical Center, are prepared to see more people in our community. And how do we raise more resources and put additional staff to make sure we can respond to that need? Well, we also know there's a lot of trauma. Children in particular within our public schools are getting additional counseling in partnership with River Valley and BHN. And we want to connect people who arrive from Puerto Rico because we've heard the stories that many people are coming from Puerto Rico, most importantly for medical health care, that they're not getting what they need, their insulin for their diabetes, their psychiatric care. And so when they come to Holyoke, partnering with the Holyoke Health Center and our hospital to make sure that people are getting their treatment as soon as possible. This is obviously the right thing to do. We welcome more Puerto Ricans to Holyoke with open arms. They're American citizens just like anyone else in the 50 states, and it's important that our federal government know that to be the truth. And so local government matters, local elections matter, and local leaders matter. And I'm really proud of everybody standing here and everybody here this afternoon for sending a clear message that we want to do everything we can to help. So thank you for coming together. And for those families in Holyoke, know that your local government and your local partners and our organizations are going to be doing everything we can, working together to make sure we help as many people as possible that are in Holyoke now and those that will come in the coming days, weeks, and months. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you, Mayor Morse, for those words. So during this natural disaster that caused this humanitarian crisis, one of the positive aspects of it is that we have come together as a community with a unified message. So I want to acknowledge, because I don't want to leave anyone out, the President of the City Council for Springfield, Orlando Ramos. Thank you for being with us. And State Representative Aaron Vega.
Thank you. I'll just add my thanks and echo the thanks that have already been said before, but on a personal note, I do want to just say, give an extra shout out to Nelson Roman, who stepped up before anyone else was even talking about this, opened the doors to Nueva Esperanza, works with the community, and I can just say on a personal note that my father would be very proud and impressed with the work you do. So thank you. Thank you. On the state level, I just want to quickly acknowledge, as was mentioned, Carlos Gonzalez, who helped form this organization right from the get-go, and two of my other colleagues, actually, Chairman Jeffrey Sanchez, who's actually the chair of Ways and Means, who's also Puerto Rican, who actually has not actually been in touch with some of his own family members in Puerto Rico still. So he is very much aware of what we're doing here. And also Frank Moran, who's the chair of the Black Latino Caucus. We work with the governor, the Baker administration, to make sure that this state is at the ready for whatever we can do. My office is open to you as we move forward now, but I'm also even more concerned, as the mayor mentioned, how we prepare for the movement of families to come back to meet with their loved ones back here in Holyoke, Chicopee, Westfield, wherever it may be, that our community is ready. There's going to be some extra stuff we're going to have to do on healthcare and on education and providing waivers, and even perhaps waivers around people who are trained as teachers or therapists to get sure that they can get those licensures here in Massachusetts expedited. So we are at the ready to work with all of you. And at this first point, we're glad for the work you're doing, and we look forward to the long haul. Thank you.
Thank you, State Rep Aaron Vega. So next I'm going to invite Ed Nuñez, who is the Assistant Vice President of Community Lending for the Freedom Credit Union. But I want to say that the Freedom Credit Union has been around for over 95 years, has 10 branches, and when we learned that we wanted to open up a fund because we wanted to have a variety of ways of people to give, I think it was a unanimous decision of the community to choose Freedom Credit Union as their site. Ed Nuñez.
Thank you, Waleska. My name is Ed Nuñez, and as you mentioned, I'm the Assistant Vice President of Commercial Lending for Freedom Credit Union. It's an honor to be here today with you all in my capacity as a representative of Freedom Credit Union, but more importantly, in my capacity as a community member. You know, when this tragedy hit Puerto Rico, I received a call from one of the coalition members and says, Ed, we need to do something. You know, people want to give, and we don't have anywhere to send them. You know, and it's our natural tendency to give as Americans, and make no mistake, we are Americans. You know, it's what we do in our nature. You know, we help each other in times of need. One of our greatest attributes is our resiliency and our willingness to give and help one another. And that's exactly what this community has done. They've rallied, they've come together. So to that point, the coalition decided to open up an account at Freedom Credit Union. I want to be clear, the account is not Freedom Credit Union's account. The account was established by the coalition. In fact, we have a fiscal agent, a 501c3. The New York Citizens Council has stepped up to the plate to be our fiscal conduit. So contributions to this account are tax deductible, 100%. We've set up systems of checks and balances as well. Myself and Jose Claudio, who works with the New York Citizens Council, are signers on that account. 2 signatures are required for withdrawals. We have a financial team that the coalition has as well, where we're going to be setting up online systems to view activity. Transparency is of utmost importance to us. It is very important for us to account for every cent that comes into this account. And as far as making a decision on where the funds go to, I can assure you that this coalition wants what the entire community wants. And that is to make sure that every cent goes to organizations that are having a direct impact to the island of Puerto Rico and to the people of Puerto Rico. So I'm going to stick around. If people have questions afterwards, I would encourage it all. But I encourage you all to contribute. We feel that together is better. We feel that if we can pool our resources together, we can leverage more resources for the island of Puerto Rico. So this is why we decided to join together. Westfield has stepped up to the plate, Chicopee, Holyoke, Springfield. It's a beautiful thing to see the community coming together as one. But to that point as well, as long as you feel compelled to do something, that's what matters. Because everyone has to step up to the plate. Everyone has to do something. Whether you join us, whether you join our cause, or whether you don't, as long as you do something for the cause, that's what's utmost importance. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed Nuñez from Freedom Credit Union. I'd like to invite, so again, I want to remind that the three communities that are working together with the Western Mass United for Puerto Rico are the City of Springfield, the City of Holyoke, and the City of Westfield. Eddie Diaz is the executive board member of, we know as WASA, Westfield Spanish American Association.
Thank you, Waleska. Thank you very much, Waleska. As she mentioned, I'm Eddie Diaz from the Westfield Spanish American Association. I think most of the folks here covered a lot of details of what's going on. I just want to say that we're very, very proud to be a part of this fantastic group and this effort. I also want to mention that, when we were invited to come into this group and when we decided to take action right away as a community, I had contacted our mayor from Westfield, Mayor Brian Sullivan, in which he did not hesitate to say, Eddie, what do you need? So I just want to make mention of our great mayor, Brian Sullivan. I also want to mention Jessica from, Jessica Wong, who came over to Westfield to our meeting at the Westfield State University from Senator Warren's office. Also want to mention Drew Renfro, who partnered up with us out of Senator Don Hummison's office. Carlos Gonzalez came to Westfield. Our great state rep, John Velas, all the way in with us, and our former Senator, Mike Knappich. I also want to make mention of our former city councilor, Agma Sweeney, who her and I have many, many, many conversations, and her passion for Puerto Rico, as well as ours. I want to thank everybody again for inviting us. We have Latinos all across this great state of Massachusetts, and we're showing right here. We're getting up, and we're not waiting. We're taking action. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie Diaz. I'd like to invite a friend and a community leader, Jossie Valentin, City Councilman from Holyoke.
Thank you, Waleska, and thank you to all of those who are here today. What I want to say is I want to share with you a message from the people of Puerto Rico, the people that I have spoken to, friends, family, who little by little have been able to make that phone call, to go on Facebook, to go on WhatsApp, whatever means it is, pulling off on the breakdown lane of the highway to get signal, any way they can to let us know that they're quote unquote okay. And I say quote unquote because I think about this in layers. The first layer being all of us hearing from those loved ones, not knowing what's going on. The second layer asking, what are the damages, your house, your car, any property? Number 3, food, medication, water, electricity, all of it. And then the fourth layer is what happens from here. And that layer is the one that continues to change every day, hour by hour. And so all of those folks in Puerto Rico need all of us here because they are relying on us. They know that the diaspora has come together in a way that a lot of folks say people have never seen. And I'm getting calls from people in New York, in Florida, in Connecticut, in, name the state, we've been contacted. And it's because when things like this happen, we come together, we work together, and we keep pushing each other. And so I want to thank everyone who in any way, shape, or form has been part of efforts. It doesn't matter to me if it's that you came and you donated something here, or you offered your phone for someone to call. To me, it's all as valuable. And also to remember each other that we need to take care of ourselves here too, because we're constantly running and going, and this is going to be a really long process. So we need to make sure that the message we're giving in our communities is we have to be patient with one another. We have to know that there's going to be obstacles and barriers, but it is the nature of the Puerto Rican people that we are strong and we are resilient. And so I know that we will we will be okay at the end of all of this, but a lot of what we need to do in terms of sending our message to our local communities is that we need to have a lot of patience so that we can get the best information out to all of you. There's a lot of community leaders that are really stepping up and making sure that that narrative is correct, because the worst that we can do is spread misinformation that then becomes problematic. So I want to thank everyone for their time and effort, and I also want to let you know that at 3 o'clock we had a conference call with Senator Warren. We're very lucky to have her as one of our champions, obviously in D.C. And as to echo what many have said here, thanking Senator Warren, Senator Markey, Congressman Neal, our delegation. We are lucky here in Massachusetts. We have folks that are making sure that their voice is being heard and that they are pushing those limits and those buttons, and we all know Senator Warren is definitely a champion for that. So we had a conference call with her at 3 o'clock. It was for folks throughout the state, mainly elected officials, community leaders, and she gave us some updates. And the most important thing I want to tell you is that she is coming to Springfield tomorrow, Friday, 5 p.m. at the Chestnut Middle School, which is on... And Congressman Neal as well has confirmed. So Congressman Neal and Senator Warren will be in Springfield tomorrow, Friday, 5 p.m. At Chestnut Middle School, which is on Plainfield Street, correct? And the purpose of that is going to be a town hall forum kind of meeting where she can give the community updates and hopefully take some questions. And then she went to get off the phone and she said, I need to go back to the Senate floor. And I mean, what an amazing, example of the champion we have in her and many others. So thank you for your time. And, Puerto Rico will come through with this, and we are strong. And we are people that stick together. So, pa'lante.
Thank you, City Councilman Valentin. And in that spirit of faith, the community has helped each other rise, even within each other. The Western Mass United for Puerto Rico, this coalition has been up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning sending messages to each other. And we know that we are hurting because we haven't heard from our family members. Since the hurricane, personal story, I heard from my father today at 11:45. I knew he was well since Monday, but I heard his voice today, and that meant a lot to me, and I want the same for every other community member. So we have, as a coalition, selected a day that we are going to have a day of prayer, but I will welcome Pastor Eli Serrano, the senior pastor from Restoration Worship Center, known as RWC.
Thank you guys for the opportunity that you guys give me. It's an honor for me to be here. It is said that teamwork makes the dream work, and we all have a dream, and that is to restore our beautiful island of Puerto Rico. And on behalf of the faith-based community, I've heard from city officials, I've heard from mayors that they're preparing to be able to accommodate the influx of people that are going to be coming to our cities. Well, on behalf of the faith-based community, we are ready to. We are ready to heal the brokenhearted. This is what Christianity is all about, giving clothes to those that are naked, being able to give restoration to those that are broken. So we are excited to be a part of this coalition. And I want to personally invite all of you this next Thursday, October 5th at 6 p.m. We're going to be at Court Square, united, all under one common cause, and that's just lifting up prayers on behalf of Puerto Rico and on behalf of Mexico, our brothers in Mexico as well that are going through this terrible, terrible time. So once again, next Thursday at 6 p.m., Springfield, Massachusetts, Court Square, we're all going to come together to lift up prayers on behalf of this great, great cause. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor Eli Serrano. I'm going to ask these two gentlemen to do the closing with me, the two city councilmen, Before we conclude the conference, we want to thank Mayor Morse from Holyoke, Mayor Serrano from Springfield, Mayor Sullivan from Westfield, all those that have been working behind the scenes that couldn't be with us today, but their hearts are here. Congressman Neal, Senator Warren, Senator Markey, Representative Jeffrey Sanchez, and Representative Carlos Gonzalez, who has us working tirelessly since the beginning of the formation of this coalition. So our message today is one, that is that what we're hearing from Puerto Rico is that even if they do receive donations of items, it's really hard to get to the locations where the people are because of the roads being compromised, because of the infrastructure. So the best form to help is by donating. So our ask is that if you feel inspired to do so, that you donate to Freedom Credit Union. And the name of the fund is the Puerto Rico Relief Fund. Freedom Credit Union, I'm not sure if Ed mentioned, but I want to highlight, is doing a match donation of up to $5,000. The Western Mass United for Puerto Rico, that happens, has created a Facebook page to keep our community informed. We also have an Instagram page where we're trying to ask community members to send us photos of the events. We could not coordinate nor be in attendance to every event that the community holds, but we welcome that you do so and that the funds be directly taken in person to Freedom Credit Union. City, pardon? Oh, thank you. And so in summary, for the city of Holyoke, Nueva Esperanza's last day is?
Saturday the 30th.
So that's the last day to collect items, although we're encouraging you that instead of items that you make a donation to Freedom Credit Union. For the city of Westfield, we will be posting that information of their drop centers, which are opening soon. And for the city of Springfield, in collaboration with Mayor Serrano's office and our liaisons, 6 locations have been identified. That is also, you can find that on Facebook. And there's only one location that is a community-led location. And you want to mention those that are leading it?
You can mention.
Okay. And that is at the North End Funeral Home, and it will only be for 2 days, September 30th, tomorrow 11 to 4, and September 30th, Saturday 10 to 3. And the other 6 locations from the city of Springfield will be open until October 6th. But again, we're encouraging that if you wish to make a donation, that you make it at Freedom Credit Union and that it be financial. We want to thank the whole community. We want to thank all of the volunteers. And we want to thank the media for continuing to cover this, this humanitarian crisis that's occurring in Puerto Rico. I hope that you continue to look to your neighbors if they are in need, even if it is of comfort because they haven't heard from their loved ones. And we wish everybody a good day. Thank you.